Hey everybody, it's Sarah here at Jackson Regenerational Farm. We're having a beautiful morning here in Maine. It's up to about 55 degrees here, but it was down to 29. We had a couple of 25ers the other day. So we're definitely into cooler weather, which is really nice for so many things. And one of those things is soup and broth and yummy, fill up your belly with goodness, things like that. For us, we love a great nourishing broth in our family you can cook so many things with it, not just make soup, but like if you enjoy rice, you can cook your rice with broth. If you need a little water, if a recipe calls for water, you can use some broth in there. So it's so great for us to just have a couple of jars that are in the freezer and ready to go, a couple of jars in the fridge, and then sometimes I freeze it too in case we want it. So right now we had a roast chicken the other night, and so I'm gonna make a batch of broth today, and I'm just gonna show you how simple it is in case that's something that you wanna try. So I have a nice stock pot here, and our chicken bones, literally, I left them in the roasting pan because that's how fancy I am. And I'm gonna put them right from the roasting pan into the stock pot, and I'm gonna add some water, and that's how easy it is for your simple broth. If you wanna make a more nourishing bone broth, you have to boil it for, and slight simmer boil for, around like 6 hours, something like that. Or, around 4 to as long as 24 hours. You can leave it on. We even have like a wood cook stove. When the wood cook stove is going in the wintertime, you can leave it for a long time, just sitting there and slowly cooking the minerals from the bones and the joints and the collagen and all those really yummy things for your belly and for your teeth, for your mouth, all those things. Sometimes I use the Instapot for that, and I think I've made a video before with the Instapot, so if I have, I will share that recipe below. This one is just super simple on the stove, taking your bones from the other night. Anything that's roasted can go right into the pot. Sometimes I do different types of bones. Your necks and your hearts and all that stuff can go in. Really nourishing, super yummy. And if I've had like another meal with a bone in it, or I have more roasted bones, you can do different types of a stock with like lots of different types of bones. Like I think I have a ham bone from the other day we'll put in there. And so you just put them in there, cover with water, and turn it on. And the only other thing that sometimes I do, depending on the season and if anybody's getting sick or you need to feel a little bit more nourishment, is add some herbs to it. And we have one of our highly recommended herbalists is Andrea Webb. She's amazing. She is, I think used to be Mother Bear Herbals, but now she's Every Light Wellness. And last year, for our gift to many of our pre-buy customers, we gave out packages of broth herbs to go with your broth. This has nettle leaf, organic burdock root, organic calendula blossoms, and some kelp. And she said add a tablespoon, add this with a tablespoon of vinegar to your broth and simmer, and you're getting all the nourishment from the broth herb. So I'll share the recipe below of how to make your own, and you can get really creative too as to what you want in your body and in your broth, and how to make it a very nourishing broth for you and your family. So lots of different options there, which is really exciting, depending on what you want. You obviously, if you are very interested in mushrooms, you can add in mushrooms into your stock and make it nice with that as well. Okay, so I've added my water to my chicken bones, and I've always read that it's best to roast your chicken bones first because it helps pull out the collagen and like loosen it so that it can be more available for when you're drinking it. And sometimes you'll notice at the bottom of the pan there's all the juices that come out, but then if you fridge them, they turn into what we call chicken jello. And my baby absolutely loves chicken jello, and that's wonderful because it's super nutritious. It's full of all the collagen and the things that help our joints, knees, all the things that sometimes get achy and creaky on us older people, and that also babies and small children need to grow their big joints and everything. That all is coming out in your bone broth. If you feel like you don't have the time in a week, which I know that feeling so well, if you feel like you don't have the time to make your broth the next day or the day after from your chicken roast, you don't have to throw it out. You can take it, throw it in a Ziploc bag, and put it in the freezer to the week when you have time. So there's lots of options. If you roast a chicken and you want to save the bones, which have a lot more nutrients in them to give you, you can just save them in a freezer bag until you have the time to boil them and get them ready for soup or broth. And if you want to make broth, but you don't want to have soup that week, or you don't have any uses for it, you don't have to throw it out either. You can just throw it into, what I do is I wait till it cools down. I throw it in the fridge overnight, and then in the morning, I will scoop it into a Ziploc bag. Some people make them into ice cube trays, like little cubes of broth. It's too small for me, but I will scoop out pretty much like a quart-size Ziploc bag and freeze it. And then at that gelatin stage, it's super easy to scoop and it doesn't spill out. And then I've got a quart of broth that's frozen in the freezer, ready to go. So if I need some broth for someone who's sick or making a quick lunch or something like that, it's really easy to go. I used to freeze them in jars, and that didn't seem very accessible to me because I would need them sooner and it was hard to get them out of the jar. So I don't do that anymore. I do use the Ziploc bags to freeze them. So I'm just gonna cover this and let it boil for a few hours and see what happens. Strain it, and then we have our broth. So I hope this was helpful. It's super simple. I hope you feel encouraged to try it yourself. Feel free to let me know how it went, if it was a first time for you. There are lots of people who love making broth on here, so I know you guys are all very knowledgeable. But if you didn't know, I wanted to make sure you knew how easy it was. And I think next week I'll be trying to share a recipe that I have or you know what? One of our simple recipes for chicken broth that the kids absolutely love is using it and then making egg noodles, egg drop soup. Is making egg drop soup. One of our best recipes is making egg drop soup with broth. The kids absolutely love it. I take some eggs, I whisk up the eggs, and then once the broth and the soup is all ready, it's the last step I do is I whisk them in, and it's super awesome to have the eggs in the soup and the broth, and it's all nutritious, and the kids absolutely love it. If that's something you're interested in, I'll share the recipe below. And I hope you are having a wonderful day. Enjoy fall. Happy fall. And happy soup weather. Take care. Bye-bye.